Cassie Carter here with Remax Advantage. I want to kind of create a little bit of like a multi-step process for the home buying process, and so this is beginning that series. So the first step that I think is the most important is making sure that you are financially stable, and that comes in the form of like kind of two different ways. There are some costs associated with purchasing a home, so like your standard closing costs, which are the costs of the loan itself. But then there's some additional costs that I think a lot of folks don't think about. For instance, the cost of inspections, the cost of the appraisal, and also earnest money deposit. Now, granted, the earnest money deposit is something that gets folded into like it's sort of like a deposit, a down payment, if you will, on your down payment. But still, it's still something to consider on the front end, as well as your down payment. And so I think it's really important to think about all those costs. And I can give you a very solid idea of what a lot of that's going to run as you're in the process of purchasing, especially on the front end, because I think it's really important to be prepared with that. So I think that there's also some, I think a lot of folks forget to think about some of the unknown costs that come with home ownership, because there's no such thing as a perfect home. And so oftentimes after you've purchased it, there are going to be some additional costs that become involved. Maybe the HVAC gets on the fritz. Maybe you've got a leaky faucet. So there's just some little other things that I think is always important to have in consideration, and for you to kind of have a nice little amount of money saved to be able to try to anticipate some of those unknowns and some of those knowns. So that's my first step, I think, is to be as financially stable as possible and prepared financially as possible. Stay tuned for the next.